We are continuing with our topic of proteins. Yes, that we are discussing an introduction to the topic. We have discussed so far about what is proteins, what are the subtypes, that is how it is formed, amino acids, which are the types of amino acids in detail we have seen. And today we are going to see about the structures and application of proteins. Where are the applicant example of few proteins, and later on we are going to start an introduction to fats today itself. So these were the topics that we wanted to cover, and majority of them we have already covered. So introduction, types of protein, types of amino acid, classification, structural organization of protein, that is alpha and beta, alpha helix and beta sheet, that we are going to see today. Amino acids and bases, peptide bond, hemoglobin and myoglobin, which are the main examples of proteins in the body. See, it is not just important for you to understand that what are proteins, you also need to understand how they are linked to us. Yes, proteins શું છે ખાલી ખબર હોવું important નથી. It is also important કે proteins આપણા બોડીમાં શું function કરે છે, that is more important. So as we had said, they are the molecule machines, building blocks, arms of living cell, mainly enzymatic catalysis of chemical conversion. Few groups that you need to remember: NHCO, yes, and R1, that is side chain. Depending on the side chain, it will be divided into 5 subtypes of amino acids: non-polar, polar, negative, positive, and aromatic. So 20 main species happen, 20 main amino acids that are present naturally in the body. And when two amino acids are united together, a water molecule, that is hydrolysis process, is there, and formation of peptide bond. Remember this, formation of peptide bond. And peptide bond allows rotation. You need to remember this. Because of this rotation, the structure of DNA, which is also a combination, or you can say tertiary or quaternary structure of the protein, is there. Yes, fibrous, membrane, globular. Yes, fibrous, membrane, and globular. Fibrous, it is water deficit. Membrane also water deficit. Membrane mainly present in the inner surface of the membrane, and its size depends on the size of the or thickness of the wall of the membrane. And globular, it contains water, and it sometimes relates to the chain interaction with cofactors. Cofactors are like enzymes. Amino acids, these are the basic structural constituents. As we discussed, NH group, COO group. So NH3 amino group and carboxyl COO group attached with one alpha carbon, hydrogen, and one R group. Depending on the R group, it will be non-polar, aromatic, polar, positively charged, and negatively charged. Non-polar means there is no positive negative. Yes, everything is neutral. Aromatic means presence of benzene ring. Polar means presence of plus and minus, but overall the charge is zero. Positively charged, as the name suggests, it will have plus charge more compared to minus charge, negative charge, and negatively charged means negative charge will be more compared to positive charge. So there are different 20 types of amino acid. You need to remember one or two example for each. So non-polar, you can remember leucine, isoleucine, and methionine. Aromatic, you can remember phenylalanine, tyrosine, and tryptophan. Polar, asparagine, glutamine. Positively charged lysine, arginine, and histidine. And negatively charged aspartate and glutamate. Yes, these were the main types of amino acids depending on the R group or the side chain. Now coming to organization. So we had discussed about primary, secondary, tertiary, and quaternary structures. So primary structure is nothing else but sequencing of specific amino acids. So you can see lysine, lysine, glycine, and such that when in, and all these are arranged in a specific order. A specific order mai arranged થાય એને કહેવાય primary structure. It is one dimensional, like a small line. Secondary structure, that is from primary structure, many primary structure form together to form secondary structure. This will be a two-dimensional way. This is also termed as alpha helix. Yes, why? Because it looks like a helical structure. Third, many such secondary structure combine together to form tertiary structure. એટલે કે ઘણા બધા secondary structures 2D model ભેગા થઈને 3D structure બનાવશે, that is tertiary structure. And last, many tertiary structures assemble and form a subunit, formation of subunit, which will be a quaternary structure. So Primary, description of all covalent bonds linking amino acid residues in the polypeptide chain in the primary structure. Most important element of primary structure is the sequence of amino acid. Yes, this sequence is at most important. If this single amino acid is changed, it will form a new quaternary structure or a new protein itself. Yes, so it is utmost important that sequence is maintained. Secondary structure refers to particularly stable rearrangement of amino acid residues, giving rise to recurring structural patterns. From primary, it will be secondary. From secondary, it will be tertiary, which in all aspects is a three-dimensional folding of a polypeptide. Yes, why there is change in the shape? Because the polypeptide or the peptide bond itself, peptide bond ekdam flexible change thai શકે, and because of this, there are new structures formed in the 3D model. Quaternary structure, when a protein has two or more polypeptide subunits, their arrangement in space is referred to as quaternary structure. So two or more tertiary structures unite together to form a subunit, and that will be quaternary structure. Till here, we had discussed in the previous lecture. Moving to two important structures that are utmost important to us. So first is alpha helix. Alpha helix is a stable right-handed helical structure, also called 3.6 helix. Yes, so you can see this is nothing else but secondary structure what we discussed so far. This is a secondary structure itself. You can see here number of carbon atoms that are arranged specifically in a specific order. Yes, so this is the primary structure. If we take just one chain, this is primary structure. Ek a sequence જ છે. Yes, this is alpha carbon પછી એક આખી chain હશે. This is third alpha carbon, this is fourth alpha carbon, and so on. It gets attached and moves forward. Yes, so ek a chain thai. Yes, from you can say C alpha 1 to C3. Yes, from C alpha 3 to C4. This is second primary structure. Primary structure is this. Ek khali simple sequence che many amino acids no. Yes, when they form together, it will be this type of helix, alpha helix. Yes, so this is the main structure. It is also termed as 3.6 helix. It is a rod-like structure. You can say this is the main structure formed for RNA and DNA. Yes, this is the basic structure of an alpha helix. Similarly, it can also be arranged in sheet form like a paper. So it is termed as beta sheet. The beta sheet structure is pleated sheet and results from intermolecular hydrogen bond between nitrogen and hydrogen and carbon and oxygen group of neighboring strands. So this is a normal one chain, this is another chain, this is third chain, this is fourth chain. Now because of many combinations of NH and CO group, NH and CO group combine thase or hydrogen bond form karse એની વચ્ચે, and because of this there will be formation of beta sheet. So this is a sheet like structure. Yes, like a small paper. It will be unidirectional or one dimensional. Yes, one dimensional. Why? Because then does not need any folding or any movement of the R chain. Say side chain છે any movement જરૂરી નથી આમાં. It can be spread like a small paper sheet, spread accordingly perpendicular to the strand axis. So these are the formed. You can see here COO along with amino group. Yes, so this is a hydrogen bond that is formed, and because of the hydrogen bond formation, it will be termed as beta sheet. Yes, because it is uniplanar. You can see the structures. This is two dimensional. Yes, બે dimension માં ખબર પડે x અને y axis બને જોઈએ આમાં, and here it is unidirectional. You can just see it on the x axis also. So that is two important structure, alpha helix and beta sheet. This is the main in nature માં કોઈ પણ આપણે protein લઈએ, protein means combination of many amino acids. We are not talking about one or two, we are talking about combination. જે main 20 types of amino acids છે એમાંથી ઘણા બધા combinations છે ઈ બનશે. Yes, the similar thing, alpha helix and beta sheet always occur in combination. Yes, તમને કોઈ દિવસ alpha helix એકલું ના જોવા મળે, તમને કોઈ દિવસ beta sheet એકલું ના જોવા પડે. There is formation of alpha helix along with some portion that is having hydrogen bond formation also. Yes, so accordingly Alpha helix and beta sheet together will always be present in the same structure. This is a complex structure that you can see from here. So this is the helix, and again here whatever the single strand is there without helix, it is beta sheet. Yes, because it is unidirectional, so it is represented as such. You can see the helical structures here, helical. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 helical structure, but they are connected through beta sheet. Yes, the same single strands that are going on, they are beta sheets. Yes, so in nature always there is combination of both the structures. બંને structure એક સાથે combination માં જોવા મળે. Alpha helix and beta sheet. Alpha helix means helical structure and beta sheets means like a paper sheet. Now our second important aspect કે પ્રોટીન શું છે ખબર પડી ગઈ, શેમાંથી બને અમાઇનો એસિડ્સ માંથી. અમાઇનો એસિડ્સ કેટલા ટાઈપના છે? 20 ટાઈપ્સ ના. કે કઈ રીતે ડિવાઈડ થાય ડિપેન્ડિંગ ઓન ધ આર ગ્રુપ ઓર ધ સાઇડ ચેન, અને કઈ રીતે અરેન્જ થશે આખા પ્રોટીન્સ માં? તો આલ્ફા હેલિક્સ એન્ડ બીટા શીટ. યસ, નાઉ how are they important to us? આપણી માટે હ્યુમન બોડી માટે, when we are being a physical therapist, being a paramedical person, how it is important to us? Yes, so the main application of proteins is now. So first structure that we are going to study is hemoglobin. So hemoglobin is a tetramer composed of each of the two types of closely related subunits, alpha and beta. Hemoglobin transports, as you already know, you have learnt in physiology, oxygen from lungs to tissues. Hemoglobin is hydrophilic. What is hydrophilic and hydrophobic? Can anyone tell me?
Hydrophilic is soluble in water and hydrophobic is insoluble in water.
Okay, so philic means loving. So hydrophilic is water loving, or which is attracted to water, which can be soluble in water. And hydrophobic, phobic means runs away. Yes, or fear. So water repellent is hydrophobic. So hemoglobin is hydrophilic, that is it is soluble in water and it attracts into water. So that is hemoglobin. So which are the structures? Alpha chain is there and beta chain is there in the hemoglobin. Hemoglobin also contains one important compound or one important mineral, that is iron. Yes, iron is utmost important. Iron is the main responsible factor for combination of oxygen, and that is why hemoglobin can transport one amount of oxygen to periphery from the lungs. So this is the structure. You do not need to remember the structure, just remember the parts, alpha and beta. So there is one heme group, there is histidine, proximal histidine and distal histidine, and part of the surrounding molecule. Yes, so iron is at the core. You can see in the center there is iron. Heme group is attached to the iron, which will be responsible for oxidation, or molecule of oxygen will be combined through iron. There will be histidine, that is an amino acid, proximal and distal histidine. Yes, and this will be responsible for transport of oxygen. So this is the surrounding molecule, iron at the core, heme group attached to the iron, oxygen will attach to the iron again, proximal histidine and distal histidine. That is all you need to remember. No need to remember the rings and the structure, but you should know iron is at the core, there is histidine that is proximal and distal, and molecule will be attaching to the heme group and the iron, which is at the center. Another important molecule. Yes, so this was an hemoglobin is itself a protein which is responsible for transport of oxygen. If hemoglobin is decreased or if hemoglobin is not there, immediately the patient will be anemic, anemia. Yes, you might have learned in the applied physiology part. Anemia is the resultant disease on decreased amount of iron or decreased amount of hemoglobin in the blood. And if oxygen is less, there are many signs and symptoms the patient will complain of. The patient will tell you they feel fatigue, lethargy. Yes, આખો દિવસ થાક જ લાગે. Yes, in the periphery you can see the cyanosis, that is bluish discoloration of the nails. Many other things are there. So such things, to prevent them, hemoglobin is a must, iron is a must, and then only oxygen can be transported effectively. Second important molecule or protein is myoglobin. So myoglobin is a monomer. Here we saw it was a tetramer. Tetramer means, what do you understand by tetra? Mono,
Four.
di, tetra. Very nice. So it is 4. So you can see 2 alpha chains and 2 beta chains are there. Yes. But myoglobin is a monomer. That is, it has only one structure. So it doesn't have a quaternary structure. It will be just one subunit that will be tertiary. You can see the structure here. Yes. Myoglobin binds oxygen more tightly than hemoglobin. This difference in binding energy reflects the movement of oxygen from the bloodstream to the cells from hemoglobin to myoglobin. Where do you find myoglobin mainly? What do you understand by myo? M-Y-O. Yes, what is myo? Related to muscles. Yes, myo means related to muscles. Remember this. These prefix and suffix you need to remember. It will not just help in such subjects. It will also help you in physiotherapy subjects in the future. Whenever you are naming the disease, say for example myasthenia gravis, so you know it is related something to the myasthenia, that is muscle and the neuromuscular junction. So in future, such important terms you need to remember. Myoglobin is the type of globulin or globin that is present in the muscles. Yes, this is responsible for effective extraction and use of oxygen in the muscles. Hemoglobin mathi myoglobin ma oxygen transfer થાય. Yes, and myoglobin present in the muscle will store this oxygen. Whenever large amount of energy is required, first there are three energy systems in the body. Yes, first is the ATP CPK system, second anaerobic system, and third is the aerobic system. So in aerobic system there will be usage of oxygen. ઓક્સિજન જ્યારે યુઝ થશે તો માયોગ્લોબિન માંથી ડાયરેક્ટ એક્સટ્રેક્ટ કરશે મસલ અને ઇફેક્ટિવલી યુઝ કરશે. યસ, સો ધેટ ઇઝ ધ ફંક્શન ઓફ myoglobin. It binds with the oxygen more tightly than does hemoglobin. The difference in binding energy reflects the movement of oxygen from the bloodstream to the cells from hemoglobin to myoglobin. So myoglobin receives oxygen from the hemoglobin. Myoglobin is hydrophilic in outside and hydrophobic in inside. So we are just talking about the outside structure, so it is also hydrophilic, same as hemoglobin was. Yes. We already know the main structures responsible for our all the tasks that we are performing. Even right now if I'm speaking, that is because of some amount of proteins are being produced, some amount of energy is being produced and utilized at the same time. Yes, the same thing, our DNA is responsible for આપણે એક વાત કરી હતી for gene. Yes, so a gene is a part of a DNA. જ્યારે DNA આખું આપણે transcript ના કરીએ, the small part of the DNA is taken. Say for example this part. Yes, so this part will be transcripted, એટલે કે એક mRNA એમાંથી બનશે, messenger RNA, which will be translated then, and there will be formation of a specific type of protein. So this is something from the nucleus in the DNA. એક સિંગલ સ્ટ્રેન્ડ એમાંથી લેવાશે, this what we are discussing, એક gene part of the DNA which is termed as gene, એક ઈ ટ્રાન્સક્રિપ્ટ થશે, ઈ બહાર આવશે, એને કહેવાય mRNA. mRNA કન્વર્ટ થશે બીજા રાઇબોસોમ્સ and other structures, ઈ એને કન્વર્ટ કરશે પ્રોટીનમાં. Yes, so these proteins are responsible for various functions within the cell. So proteins, you can say, are the complete hands of a cell. કોઈ પણ વસ્તુ પરફોર્મ કરવી હોય, ફિઝિયોલોજીકલી કાંઈક પણ પરફોર્મ કરવું હોય, proteins are utmost needed. Yes, without proteins there is no process. Yes, so because of this, proteins form a very important basis of our human body. And we are also going to see in much detail about proteins in when we are going to discuss about enzymes, which will be after we complete the introduction to fat. Yes.